Presco versus Okomu. That's the major conversation right now in the palm oil industry. It's a booming industry in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, two players are dominating. One is Presco, another is Okomu Oil. We're going to find out who's literally taking the lead in 2025. But in the first half of 2025, we've seen both companies making 328 billion. They're pulling 328 billion naira in the first half of 2025. Now, this is so huge, but a big conversation is, let's take a look at the revenues. Let's take a look at who is literally the market leader. Let's take a look at who's taking in the largest market share in the palm oil industry. A lot of you know it as just something you meet in your kitchen, something you used to cook. But hey, this is a determinant product in the bottom line of these two companies. Okomu Oil versus Presco. Who's really pressing the neck of the industry? We're going to find out from this episode of In Good Company. My name is Frank Fagwa, and this is brought to you by Nairametrics Television. Let's go right into the conversation. You know I don't come alone. I come with a heavyweight, the man behind the scene. You always see his articles, but right now you're not seeing his articles, you're seeing his face. Idike Aja, you're very much welcome.
Thank you, Frank.
Yeah. What's your take? It's a lot happening in the palm oil industry. It's one sector that a lot of Nigerians overlook. When you hear oil, what comes to the mind of Nigerians is oil and gas. They're thinking of fossil fuel. They're thinking of Shell, Chevron, and all these massive companies. But oil is also very, very massive in the Nigerian market, palm oil. Let's talk about the industry in general. What do you think about the industry?
Yeah, thank you very much. The industry is wide. The palm oil sector, the industry, the problem, the challenge, and not, would I even call it a challenge? I think it's a good thing because there's always the issue of supply and demand gap. Do you get the point?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so normally the producers, they don't meet up with the local demands, and then have to resort to importation. So I think reportedly we have about $600 million was imported, and if you look at Kumo and Presco, even if you convert the 600 million, that will give about, I think, about 933 billion.
Whoa.
You understand? So,
yeah, that's right.
And meanwhile, you just mentioned that their half-year revenue is about
328 billion.
There's approximately 329.
Yeah.
You can see the difference between what is even important and what they are producing. So it's a very huge and viable market that what is even helping them is just the demand-supply gap that has been there for quite some time.
Why do you think the sector is so attractive to a lot of investors? It's thriving, and what is the sugar that is attracting the ants that are coming around the table? Why
is it attracting investor? Yeah, I agree. Yes, I can agree that you have small holders, producers. At that subsistence level,
yeah.
You understand. But it takes time for the process to be completed, and at least the major thing is they need to source for your raw material.
Very true.
So if you have a particular maybe a 5-ton capacity plant per a day, if you calculate, how the raw material it will need to be able to even get up to 70% capacity utilization. So I wouldn't say it's attraction. I say that maybe we are not even scorching the surface. We're not even meeting up. So I think Presco just acquired Ghana Oil Producing Development Company Limited of recent. I think the value of about $171 million. So that's okay. That will equally boost their revenue and bottom line. But the issue is that it's not as if we have not even scratched it. So
we've not even scratched the surface. Let's talk about the market leaders. It's always a battle of titans. Presco one side, Okomu Oil another side. Investors are literally going toe to toe against themselves, who do you think is the market leaders based on numbers? No sentiments, no emotions, no hearsay, based on numbers.
Yeah, based on
As of
numbers.
today.
But I look at it from this angle. Two of them are doing very well.
Yeah.
They have the markets. I'm sure they're enjoying the markets. They are doing very well. But in terms of scale, in terms of both balance sheet size, revenue, profitability, Presco is leading. I think in half year 2025, Presco did 198, which is close to 98% of its
what they did in 2024,
which is about
right.
I think about 208 billion thereabout.
Yeah.
While Okomu for the half year did I think about 130 billion. You can see the gap. Of course, but if you go down, look at it in terms of efficiency, you will see that Okomu is doing very well because Presco has a larger asset base, as the balance sheet size is bigger than Okomu. But when you go down and look at the what we call the asset turnover, how well you use the asset to generate revenue, you can see that Okomu is doing better. So in terms of scale, size, yes, revenue, profitability, Presco is doing very well. It's doing better than Okomu.
I was going to go into profitability. Presco making a lot of money. It looks like they're much more profitable, but in comparison to their assets, it's normal. What do you think?
That's what I've just explained now. So that thing is measured by the asset turnover.
Okay.
You have the ability to use your asset, what you use that to generate revenue. So I'm thinking if you look very well, I think Okomu has a higher asset turnover than Presco. So that means in terms of efficiency, Okomu is doing better. So that's the thing. But in absolute figures, Presco is better, is bigger, his scale is bigger, is larger, revenue, profit, balance sheet, return earnings, shareholders funds. So it's better.
So you're talking about some other players in the industry, small scale players, not so massive. How do you think those guys are catering to the gap in the market? Because if you look at the gap in the Nigerian market, there's a lot of demand. We don't have enough supply. Do you think that I call them the informal sector, the informal players, are they doing enough to be able to meet up to that?
Well, if you can only measure that if you look at what is coming in, the imports. Like I mentioned, reportedly, we have about $600 million import.
Yeah.
Then you look at that means, which is huge. That's close to 934 billion naira that was imported. Now, that shows that, the demand is not being met. And like I always say, the advantage the sector has is that demand-supply gap, where the supply is not meeting with the demand. Demand is huge, and you can't see people even to get to meet up. Have the supply to meet the demand. So it's always an advantage to them, even though it is not good. You understand? Ideally, it should have been you should meet halfway, where at least because if supply is higher than demand, you know what happens now. It will affect the price, right? So, but right now it's not like that. So that's the advantage they have.
So I want us to go down the value chain a little bit from the raw materials. That's a fundamental problem. We're discussing behind the scene, and you were telling me about the fact that these guys are off takers, and they don't even get enough raw materials to be able to service the demand that their factories have. Factories with 60,000 metric tons capacity, 50,000 metric ton capacity, they don't have enough raw materials. How do you think we can change that narrative in Nigeria? Do you think that we have enough plantations that are supplying these guys? How can we change that narrative? Because we
Yeah,
have the markets, we have the people, we have the demand. Why are we not utilizing it?
yeah,
And we have the land.
yeah,
How do we land?
you are right. The midstream byproducts, not the end point, the final product.
Okay.
The palm oil sector, the raw material, sort of you need to have that backward integration.
Yeah.
That is why you don't see most people going to it. I know I consulted for someone 2 years ago, and by the time we calculated, they look at the plant capacity, and he needed to at least cultivate about 200 hectares of palm plantation to be able to meet up with that the plant capacity. Yes, he was trying to 200 hectares. So you can see now it requires enough raw material, and that's the ability to able to sustain the plant is based on the raw material available, which is from the palm plantation, where you get the FFB, that is a fresh fruit bunch.
Yeah,
then you get it down. That will now supply the plant. So, and it's a bit expensive, and the gestation period is equally long. So when you even cultivate now, at least even the new seedlings, though I'm not an agriculturist, so but at least I know it can take you between 2 to 3 years before you can start harvesting. And for you to even sustain a 5-ton capacity per day capacity plant, you know how much the size of the plantation you have to have before you can sustain it. So I think to me that is the challenge. But the margin is
rural areas. A lot of them are farmers. A lot of our villages, a lot of our people, many of them farm.
That is only in the south. That's only in the southeast now. Can you? How many palm plantations do you see in let's say North Central?
That's true.
Do you get the point? That's the palm is. So they have the comparative advantage, and the land is landlocked. It's not as vast as like that. So. Even the ones that struggle, the plantation to get, it's not even enough. You understand? It's not even enough to even, though they produce with lower equipment and not even semi-automated machines. So these are local production. So that's what they use, and it takes a lot is lost in the process.
So I want to give you some numbers. I don't want to make a mistake, so I'm going to read it. Look at it. Top palm oil producing countries in the world as at last year. Guess who is on the top? Indonesia, number 1, 44 to 47 million metric tons. We have Malaysia, 19 to 21 million metric tons. Thailand, we have 3.9. Look at the gap from 19 to 3, meaning Malaysia and Indonesia, they're controlling
the market share.
The global market share for palm oil. Thailand, 3.3 to 3.9. Colombia, 1.9. We have Guatemala, 1.1 million. 1.09 million, that's Guatemala. And then the 6th on the list is Nigeria. 1 million to 1.5 million metric tons. 6th. And it means that we have the potential to be able to go up this list. What do you think we can do? What do you think can be done?
I think what we should be asking ourselves that production we are doing, is it enough even to cater for Nigerians? That's it. Is it enough? I've told you now, reportedly you have an import of about $600 million imported to meet the shortfall between what you need, a demand and supply. So it's not even about whether we are on the 6th position or whether on the 5th position.
Yeah.
The issue is that the one we are producing, is it enough? Is it enough?
So, buy, sell, hold. Who do you see? What would you recommend to investors? Who would you be going with? Presco, Okomu?
You look at one. How are they performing?
Yeah.
That is their market performance. Presco is equally leading there. I think to date about 212% year to date.
Okay, yeah, 200.
I think the other one has not too sure about 140 there, one thereabout. Now,
130 something.
yeah, 130 something.
Yeah.
So, but that is not the issue. The issue is the valuation. So,
yeah.
Do
you know that when I found out that Presco had gotten to the SWOT category, I was so surprised.
1.48 trillion. That's market.
Trillion.
Yeah, market. Yeah. Then this guy Okomu exploded 900 and something.
Yeah,
but that is not the issue. The issue is that at what are they trading at in terms of their earnings and the share price? I think looking at their price to earning ratio, Okomu appears more expensive. I think trading at 14, while the other one is trading at 11.
Yeah.
And that means for every 1 naira earnings, you are paying 11 naira, and the other one is paying 14. The same thing, they are trading two of them are trading above their book value, and even above their price to sales ratio is equally high, showing that investors they have confidence that fine, you will continue growing your profit, your sales, your earnings, your sales, even your book value. We expect that yes, it will continue to grow, and that is expected because of the sector, because they have the highest margin you can ever think of, you can see in any other sector. So where you have Presco has close to 89% gross profit margin.
Oh, wow.
While the other one has, so that means it's taking them just about 11 naira to earn maybe around 100 naira. So you can see.
Do you see market correction anytime soon? Because you're suggesting that it's a bit premium, because they're buying it above the book value. Do you see any market correction anytime soon?
No, because as far as they can sustain the level they are now, they can sustain their earnings, sustain their revenue. Yeah, because they think that investors are pricing and say, okay, fine. Even if you check it relatively, they are agri sector, and to me, I don't see that it is a premium valuation.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see it that way, because they have a very strong growth. If somebody is keeping aside 89% of his revenue after direct costs, 89% of his revenue after, I mean, it's big. You cannot see that in any other sector. You can't. You hardly see that. So it's excellent, and equally too for investors, they pay dividends. They have been consistent in paying dividends. High dividends.
Okay, so you said a lot, and I love the fact that you've been able to expatiate and explain what has been happening behind the scenes as regards the numbers. You've heard from Idika Aja. He's told you what has happened between Presco and Okomu. Who are you going to be going for? Who are you going to be betting against? Tell us in the comment section. We'd love to hear from you. Like, share, comment. But then it's so amazing to see the fact that Presco has been able to this is giant. They've been able to fight against the inflation, against FX debacle that we've been experiencing as a nation, and they've proven to be an industry and companies that can stand the test of time. Really amazing to see, and I hope a lot of investors are going to be putting their eyes in that sector. Are going to be looking at that sector. It's really interesting to see. So that's it on this episode of In Good Company. My name is Frank Fagba, and you heard from Idika Aja. This was brought to you by Nairametrics Television. Keep liking, keep sharing, and subscribe. Cheers.